Facebook, Twitch, uh, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, Periscope, and Daily Motion. Oh, cool. We appear to be actually live on Daily Motion. I didn't know if that was going to work or not. I've been having some trouble with them. So, I'm Christopher Lowry. I'll be your host for this evening. I am joined by our regular guy, Cameron Anderson. And
I'm not regular.
Well, you should get some fiber. And we've got Zaluska the Slav. I'm digging the pineapple.
You like that?
It's like we're suddenly in an episode of Psych. And the mean old bald-headed man. My favorite mean old bald-headed man. And looks like we've got Danny in the chat. Patrick has joined us.
Oh, hey, Danny.
So, for tonight's Clusterfuck, we're going to talk a little bit about the... Now, Cameron and I have already given a treatment to the events of the 6th, the Wednesday protests. Wow, my mother-in-law is watching too. Hell yeah. Hey, Trisha. Hey, Krista. Krista's watching. Krista asks, wait, did the other one crash out? What do you mean?
The other one what?
Oh, it says this is only a test. What the hell?
Uh-huh.
So we got broken off of the... See, I fixed the other feed. I fixed the 2-feed problem in the OBS thing, and son of a bitch.
All right. I don't know what's going on with you guys, but you all appear to be frozen on my end, so...
Nope.
Oh, no. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I'm looking over at the other feed. Oh, Cameron, what you got tonight?
Oh, good Lord, you're just going to throw it right to me, huh? Okay, fair enough. I'll be the villain. Maybe I had a lack of nuance in what I said on the 7th, but I still stand by what I said on the 7th. What happened on the 6th was a mistake, and we're going to pay dearly for it. And that process has already begun, given the fact that Parler has been stricken from the App Store and the Google Play Store, and the president has been deplatformed from Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And this is the beginning, not the end. So, yeah. How about that for just kind of an opening? And there's a lot to go through, obviously, but how about we just start there?
Well, you think the protest was entirely a mistake?
No, I didn't think the protest was a mistake. I think the riot part was a mistake. The protest was fine. I don't even mind the protest getting rowdy. But I think once you've got a guy with a Viking helmet dressed up in red, white, and blue WODE, W-O-D-E, WODE, storms the Senate chamber and starts making veiled threats against the vice president. That part was a fucking mistake, yeah. Whoever's eating something, stop. It hurts my ears.
Yeah.
At the least, it'll be used as a high mudslinging fuel. At the least.
At the very least, you are.
Well, don't mute your microphone. Go ahead and enjoy your dinner.
Oh shit!
I don't.
I think he's trying to talk.
Oh shit!
Now that you've muted him, yeah.
Okay, bring it on, Rod. Bring it on.
How much of that stuff with the dude wearing outfit? How much was actual Republicans, and how much of it was actual who the hell ever them people are?
Yeah, that's my question. And I think Chris and I were so excited to actually be able to debate one another on Thursday morning. Maybe we forgot to make a couple of points as we went into it, because so rarely do we disagree with one another so vociferously. But that was one of the things that I started to suspect the day of the incident. Like, it smelled a whole lot like some kind of false flag attack.
Whoa.
Cameron just hung up. Alex says it was all
Who is this
Republicans.
Alex? Who the hell is he?
I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure about that. Alex McDonald's a good buddy of ours who does a show called Polytech.
Cam got deplatformed.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Steve said. Jesus.
I don't know
Cam
what
got-
happened. It all
Cam's
just
got
crashed.
deplatformed.
And I can't hear you guys. It's like it's waiting on it to catch up.
Well, we see you and hear you now. But yeah, you just straight dropped off a minute ago.
It's probably in the middle of making an absolutely brilliant point. That's why it dropped off.
Patrick says there is a facial recognition company saying that known Antifa members were there. Yes, they're just there were definitely some agent provocateurs who are BLM activists and Antifa activists. That is not to say that this whole thing was a complete false flag by the left. I think what we had here is a group of conservative, a group of conservatives went to protest.
He's not. I think the guy's posing as a QAnon leader.
Well, hold that thought. Hold that thought.
Come on.
Rod, hold that thought for a minute. I think what we had here is a group of people with a legitimate grievance, a legitimate concern. Come on in, Cade. This is going to get tricky. I don't have an extra set of headphones.
Okay. Shit.
Or rather, I can't run two sets of headphones at the same time.
And I know how this works. Like, all you need to do is block Cade's face with the microphone.
So, but anyway, let me get through this real quick, and then I'll leave it to you guys for a minute while I try to get Cade hooked up so that he can participate since he's here. And we might address the question of the QAnon leader thing later. Okay, so what we had is a group of people with a legitimate grievance attempted to exercise their First Amendment protected right to peacefully assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. Now, you can engage in any of your protected constitutional rights on public property. A good example of this, you get your First Amendment auditors out there. A lot of the First Amendment auditor guys are assholes looking to pick a fight and cause a problem, but their point is not illegitimate. Under the law, if you can see it from a public land, from a public sidewalk, from inside a public building, then you can film it. That's the law. The same goes for your right to protest and your right to petition for the redress of grievances and the right to peace. Okay. You don't have a right to protest as such in the First Amendment. You have a right to peacefully assemble, and you have a right to speak, and you have a right to the press, and you have a right to petition the government for redress of grievances. From that combination, we get the right to protest, right? Now, you are absolutely within your lawful rights to do that in any public building, on any public land, on any public sidewalk. When these protesters, with the absolute constitutionally guaranteed right to do that, attempted to do that in a public building, they were denied entry before they ever managed to enter. They were barred from entering the public facility. And at that moment, at the exact moment that someone wanted to enter the public building, that's the Capitol building, and was told they could not, the police were exercising unlawful authority. At that very moment, the police ceased to be legitimate authority figures. And as is not an unreasonable response to the unlawful enforcement of law, the people got upset and pushed past it. You can liken that to a person being unlawfully arrested in the street. Now, it is always my position that if you are being arrested unlawfully, that compliance is tactically sound, because then your remedy is in the court. In this case, however, in this instance, we have a couple of problems. The remedy in the court is muddy on the sheer number of people there. And more importantly, when the Supreme Court refused to hear the case from Texas on the 4 illegitimate voting states, which includes the state from which we are broadcasting currently, when the Supreme Court refused to hear that grievance between states, they sent a clear signal that unless you are a Democrat, paid and supported violent activist, you do not get a day in court. You do not have a voice in this country. Your vote doesn't matter. Your rights do not matter. And your legal processes do not exist. So I think some mistakes were made, not least of which was the breaking of the windows. I will caveat that with, there wasn't a lot of property damage apart from some broken windows. Now, this has been likened by many to the BLM riots and the Antifa riots that went on all last year. That comparison is utterly illegitimate. Those were insurrection acts. Those were riots. This was a temper tantrum being pitched by people who have had their peaceful options stripped away from them. When you look at the BLM and Antifa riots, they didn't have their peaceful options stripped away from them by the government or by the courts or by law enforcement. They chose to skip over those options and go straight to burn.
Yeah, but time out. Are we sure that this was a group of conservatives that had just been picked on enough? Because I'm not convinced of that. In fact, as more time has gone on, as I've seen the utterly predictable fallout come from it, I mean, and Rod even asked the question to open it all up. I mean, are we sure that the guy in the Viking helmet was a conservative? Because I'm not. I mean, world's biggest Alex Joner and all that, but like, golly, if you just put yourself in a tinfoil hat mindset, this all makes a hell of a lot of sense. Because raise your hand if you've been to a Tea Party rally. Raise your hand if you've been to a Republican rally. Raise your hand if you've been to a Trump rally. I have. This is not what our side does. Our side goes somewhere. We leave the place cleaner than we found it. We don't push past cops and break windows, and like even when the thing happened in Michigan over the summer, where the guys actually occupied the state house at the in Michigan with their rifles displayed. That's legal to do in Michigan. That is all above board to do in Michigan. And that's what our side does. So the fact that all of a sudden we're gonna break the rules, man, I have a hard time buying that. I do.
Let me ask, how many people actually went where they weren't supposed to?
Actually, not many.
Well, where they weren't supposed to go. I mean, no, really.
You can hear this?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Oh,
can they hear me?
well, then our problems
I can
are
hear
solved.
you.
If you can clearly hear this, then they can hear anything you say in the microphone.
Pretty clear.
See, as it turns out, I'm deaf and Cade's not.
Convenient that. I mean, the as far as being where they weren't supposed to be, was there anyone that legitimately wasn't where they were supposed to be? The one woman that was shot and killed, she may have been trying to get somewhere where she wasn't supposed to be. I'm not sure. I don't.
She was
recognize-
standing in a window.
Yeah, but as far as being
yeah,
where they weren't supposed to be, I don't know that anyone was. That
Yeah, and
destroying
Miss
property
Babbitt.
But how-
Hey, real quick, Miss Babbitt, the Air Force veteran that was shot and killed. I've seen the video. I've seen the video from where that happened, and it's pretty clear in the video. She's basically just standing up in a window. It doesn't look like she's trying to climb through it or anything. She's standing in front of one of the broken windows, and she got shot in the neck.
Yeah, but Rod makes a good point. Like a tiny fraction.
So
of
would you say
protesters-
50?
No, go ahead, Rod.
Do we know who they are? Have we got a list of their names yet? Because, all people, all these conservatives are treacherous, et cetera, et cetera. Well, I want names. If there are 50 people, I want 50 names, and I want somebody to look them up and say who they are, what they do, and are they actually Republicans?
You know, Rod, it's interesting you should mention that. The FBI has put out a poster now with a bunch of faces on it that says that they are people who were photographed by security cameras in the Capitol building while this was going on. The FBI has put out this poster, and on the poster it says that the FBI is seeking assistance from the public to identify these people. Scott Adams points out, and I think he's onto something. You know, we're talking about the FBI. They have pretty good facial recognition software. Now, when we say
my
they have,
iPhone
hang on.
unlocks it with my looking at it.
and yeah, when we say they have pretty good facial recognition software, let me be clear. This is stuff that I have seen used in theater of war more than 10 years ago. That technology has not gone undeveloped since then. So for the FBI puts out this poster, hey, we need the public to help us identify these people. No, you don't. In fact, if you put out this poster that says you're trying to identify these people and you need help from the public, the only tangible result from that could be that you are notifying the people that are on the poster that now you're looking for them. The guys at the FBI are not stupid enough to have missed that. I know. I trained some of them. And so that brings me to ask this question. If the objective of the poster is not to ask the public for help, since they clearly don't need that help, since that help's not useful, and by putting the poster out, all they can do on the surface of it is to just notify those people that they are in fact being searched for by the FBI, then why'd they put the poster out? Oh, I see. Our FBI is actively doxing people intentionally to cause harm. The only reason that you put the poster out is you're not saying, hey, we need to know who these people are. You're saying, hey, we want you to know who these people are.
they're not an institution that can be trusted at this point. I mean, they're just not.
No.
The FBI
They never
cannot be
have
trusted
been.
with anything at this point.
Scoot in.
I do want to.
This is the frame. You should be in the frame.
I'd see that, but I didn't want to impose. I'm going to get some coffee. It would be helpful if you could figure out an audio thing. It would be helpful if you could figure out an audio thing because I can barely hear him.
Okay. Well, I have my doubts.
Okay. Well, we can share. We can share.
No,
Hey, guys.
Get away from
Hey,
me.
guys.
Stop.
Go get you a cup of
Guess we don't
coffee,
have
and
that kind
you're
of
gonna have to start a
relationship.
fresh pot.
Oh, really? It's just.
There's a cup to be had, but that's the last cup. So start another
Start a
pot.
fresh pot right to that. Fresh pot started.
Corey Haynes has joined us, and Legion's with us. See what Legion has to say. Rod, you can't get a reaction from the MSM about Russiagate. Do you really think they will do any exclusive about some rando in the Capitol? Yeah, that's.
I'm not worried about the mainstream media's reaction to anything. We can communicate amongst ourselves and disseminate information that's accurate between ourselves. Millions of millions of us actually rely upon a bunch of propagandists who've sold out this dick.
Okay, but how much longer can we actually do that? That's the thing. Like, they've deplatformed
Oh, we can do it
president of the
indefinitely.
United States. Yeah, but can we really if they turn off our cell phones?
Look, the worst thing these people could have possibly done was accepted the presidency of the United States in these conditions, because they are incapable of anything to the United States of America, given the conditions that they consider.
Oh, God.
The stuff that they want, the way they want to go about doing it, that they believe in. You know, we're not talking about some commies here. We're talking about full-blown goddamn fascists who want to get money from special interests, and they're beholden to Wall Street. Come on now. That's state? No, that's not church and state. That's marriage of corporations and right? That is fascism. And they want to go, Donald Trump's a fascist. No, I don't think so, because he was trying to put it into special involvement. Right? What we have here is a Nazi fascist problem, American style, and America was into fascism long before Hitler was born.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, let's not forget that Hitler made Time magazine's cover. So your point is well taken. But I guess what I'm asking is, as a consequence,
They were people like that.
Yeah, they do. But as a consequence of what happened, you know, put aside the small disagreement that Chris and I had a few days ago.
Correct thing is this guy with dementia is going to be sworn in like he doesn't have dementia, when we should be swearing in that black woman named Harris, because the white guy's got dementia, and we should the United States, we should just skip him on the 25th Amendment. Go ahead and put her in, and everybody can celebrate, et cetera, et cetera. That's fine. We've got a black coup. Now, her head. And
Okay, time out. Am I the only
he's
one
some sort of
having audio
economic
distortion from
guru.
Rod?
Hey, Rod,
Rod,
we're starting to have a lot of issues with your internet connection.
Yeah, for whatever reason.
You understand what I'm saying?
No,
They're
I don't
incapable.
understand what you're saying. That's the problem. And I feel like if I could hear what you were saying, I could understand what you were saying. The problem is something's
Yeah,
going on with
your audio is clipping out real bad, Rod. We're not getting a strong enough signal from you. Try turning your. I hate to say it, but go ahead and shut your video off, Rod, and we'll see if we can't get better audio with that. If we lower the strain on your stream there.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
That's much better.
Yeah, that is much better. But it sounded like you were making the
Okay.
point that.
But
Go ahead,
moving
please.
forward, the last thing the Democrats wanted to do, other than to try and protect their precious Supreme Court, was to actually show up and take the responsibility of an administration, because they don't know what they're doing. And they're going to make some of the downside risk of being president right now in a not knowing what they're doing. All they're going to do is make enemies, including their own people, they could have possibly done to themselves.
I don't know. I disagree.
It's like shaving a haircut.
I don't know. I disagree. I think they know exactly what they're doing. It's evil and it's fallacious and it's outright fucking sophistry. But I think they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, I agree with him.
Yeah,
I agree
Kamala
with Cameron.
Harris could never get elected on her own. I mean, the woman didn't even make it to the first primary vote. But she's gonna be president.
They knew that they were. They knew that they were crucifying Jesus when they crucified him. That didn't mean that what they were doing was a worthy solution to their problem. Well, you know, they're talking lockdowns and stuff like this. They're going to finish off small business states in favor of Wall Street controlled big boxes. Is that the new solution?
Apparently.
And then the print money and have $2,000 checks every once in a while, hoping that the thing will blow over. It's going to hyperinflate.
Yeah. Put it up to your phone.
Yeah, well, this is a large part of why I said
That's
what
Venezuela.
happened. This is a large part of why I said what happened on Wednesday was a mistake. Now, it's only a mistake if our side basically lost their temper and threw a temper tantrum. But I'm rapidly coming more and more solidified in the position that that's not what happened at all. That what happened was, there were provocateurs that the enemy took advantage of a situation, and now they get to cry sedition, 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 and that is so stupid. Our government is not a building. Even if this crowd had gone full-blown Antifa and burned the Capitol down, the government would still exist. The government's an idea. It's a concept. Oh, they can't hold these votes via Zoom. They can't walk over to the White House or the Supreme Court or whatever and do the same damn thing they would have done there. Don't tell me that there's not another building in Washington, D.C. big enough to hold 500 people so they can go through the pomp and ceremony and everything else that needs to happen. No, this was done so that it would look scary, so that the justification would be there. Forget the fact that just a few years ago, the same damn thing happened when they were calling Brett Kavanaugh a gang rapist. And the same damn thing happened. It was okay then. But now our side does it. I'm just reminded of, for years now, every time there's been a mass shooting, there's been somebody that's attacked politicians. In particular, I remember the guy that flew his plane into the IRS office in Texas. And
he's Tea Party.
And it ended up being a Democrat that had been screwed over by the tax code and had nothing left to lose. So he crashed his plane into an IRS building. And it just, I guess the thing that I'm really concerned about is we don't even know the entire other side of this, and will not know the other side of this until we are in fact on the other side of this and can't do shit about it except hope we can weather the storm. And with regard to what happened at the Capitol, I realize it's part of our American DNA to, sometimes we get mad and we break things. And like that whole Boston Tea Party thing, is the thing that happened. But the guys that threw the tea overboard, they knew that the shooting might happen if they did that. And they were prepared to engage in the shooting. And I just think the vast majority of us, even the us's of the world, are not prepared to engage in the shooting. That's why the whole thing stinks to me. It'd be different if it was a plan and we're deliberately going to instigate something and we're going to expect a reprisal. We know the redcoats are going to come because we're going to piss them off and then we're going to mow them down. But that's not what happened here.
So why were they even there on the 6th? The election was the beginning of November. And the court case is moot point by January.
So until the court cases had been tossed, and I think in many cases illegitimately, we can get back to that in just a minute. I don't know, dude.
Don't worry about it. I can hear what I can hear.
Until the court cases had been tossed, there was still reason to hold out hope that maybe the legitimate government would function legitimately. But once the court cases were all tossed, like I was saying earlier about this protest, part of why this protest happened is basically because all of American conservatives' peaceful options have been stripped away from them. We have been told that we are not allowed to do peaceful anything. And we have been shown through the course of the last year that there are no consequences for violence. There are only rewards, that violence is effective, and you will suffer no consequences for engaging in violence. That's the message of the BLM protests, of the BLM riots, the Antifa riots, is that there are no consequences for violence. Now, what we have learned with the incidents on the 6th is that the truth of the matter is there are no consequences for violence if you fly the right color flag.
You know, and speaking of what happened on the 6th, here's the other thing that just really sticks out in my craw. All this bullshit went down right in the middle of Arizona's electors being contested.
Yes, that's something that you and I started to talk about earlier, and that's the thing that bothers me about it. That's the tinfoil hat time. The timing of the entry into the building and the fact that it disrupted the only part of the whole hearing that might have been, other than pure ministerial, counting, and that is the objections to the votes by the several senators and members of the House that were not about to occur, but in progress, actively in progress at the time they entered the building. The timing of that strikes me as incredibly suspicious. I don't know what to make of it. I'm not ready to make broad accusations based on that.
I am.
But hugely suspicious.
I am. I think the whole thing is a fucking setup. The further down this rabbit hole we go, the more... Because it's not just... It'd be different if it went to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court had decided, 7-2, 8-1, even 9-0 against us. At least the evidence would have been heard in court, and there'd have been some layer of legitimacy to it. I'll point to the Obamacare decision. We all thought it was bullshit. We did. But it went to the Supreme Court, got heard by justices, and even though we all agree that John Roberts basically sold out, we allowed it, as it were, for better or worse. But that never even happened. It's not just you're wrong. It is you're stupid for even questioning it. We're going to make fun of you for going, well, hold on a minute. Now, there are some things here that don't add up. Why in the world did we all go to bed and Trump was up by 100,000 votes in all these different states, and then we woke up in the morning and suddenly Trump is losing all these same states that anybody with half a brain would go, you'd think these blue-collar guys would want to vote for Trump because they've all seen their paychecks go up since he came into office. And we're dumb for even asking that question.
Yeah, it's surprising how many people hate America so much that they're willing to pay an extra $2,000 a year to help kill it.
Oh. But as far as I'm concerned, the timing of it, the all of it, I still maintain that if this is conservatives, and even a tiny sliver of conservatives that cross the Rubicon from protester to rioter, that was the wrong call to make, tactically, morally, ethically, whatever. I'll plant that flag and I'll stand on it, stand by it rather. But I am coming more and more around to the fact that that's not what happened at all. I've been to too many of these rallies. I remember how uplifting it was the first time I went to one of these rallies. And I remember specifically, and this is one of those things that's like burned into my brain, that every bit of trash was thrown away. And then when the trash cans were overfilled, every bit of trash was stacked up neatly next to the trash cans. That's how our side does these things. So the fact that we're suddenly going to go the wrong way and start breaking windows, and I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I don't care if it comes. I don't care if it comes with a ham sandwich and a beer. I don't buy it.
Is that reputation, that bit of the
But
reputation,
why not make-
gone completely?
No, it's not.
It is according to the media, and that's what people see. Because
Well, no. Okay, hang on a second. So on that point,
Mhm.
you're saying that bit of the reputation is gone because, as far as the media is concerned,
Oh,
for-
it's yeah. Go.
you're saying that bit of the reputation is gone because, as far as the media is concerned, going forward, every Tea Party rally, every conservative rally is going to be viewed through the lens of Wednesday, January the 6th, right? That's what you're saying.
Sure.
That because of this thing,
Well,
But-
sort of.
that because of this thing, that the media will never view the Tea Party the way that Cameron has just described it, right?
Yeah, if nothing happens at any rallies going forward, they'll barely even be mentioned.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, and this is one of my big pushbacks against Cameron. Is Cameron has been pointing out that we're gonna pay a price for there will be consequences. We're going to pay a price over this rally and what the media is going to say about us. And let me just bring it back to what you're saying about how going forward, the media is not going to report on the Tea Party rally, on the Tea Party rallies the way that the Tea Party rallies used to be. And let me be very clear. When the Tea Party rallies were exactly what Cameron just described, where we left the park better than it was when we got there, they were already calling us Tea Party members radicals, terrorists, racists. So the image that you're talking about not being able to get back from the MSM, we didn't have that to get back from them before the 6th.
That's true.
And same thing as far as the consequences that you're talking about going forward, Cameron. We were already anything that they could possibly call us based solely on what happened on the 6th, we have already been called that and worse for a decade prior. So the question of how the optics of this affect the optics in the media is a moot point. That ship sailed before Donald Trump came down the escalator.
Here's where it's changed, though. Okay.
It has
First of all, here's where it's changed as of January 6th. So, first of all, just a quick point out, a quick question. At Charlottesville, was there any violence except for the one dude in the Dodge Challenger?
There were
Other than little scub fights breaking out and stuff like
there
that.
were a lot of
And violence on the other side.
Charlottesville was a mess. There were a lot of Antifa guys and a lot of far right who showed up with shields and sticks.
Right.
Rod's gonna pop
were
if you don't
shooting
let
each
him
other.
say something.
Poor Rod's about to bring it on, Rod. What you got?
Just let me get this out.
Okay,
real quick.
okay.
Here's where it's changed is what Mario has been pointing out in our text thread is that we have no support now. Everyone's so scared to touch this in the GOP that everyone, including the man who incited it, as if he ever did that, is denouncing everything, and everyone's turning their back on the cause doesn't matter. The fact that the gathering was there doesn't matter. The fact that the gathering was several 100,000 people, and what was it? Probably a couple hundred max that actually stormed the Capitol. All of that's lost. Everyone, Ted Cruz has been the one that's been, other than Trump, has been cemented in his position. And even Ted Cruz is coming out and denouncing everything. And I was worried, especially with the Capitol police officer that ended up dying of his injuries allegedly in the hospital a couple of days later. That was it. That now there's no going back. You gotta come out and talk about it as if it was September 11th all over again. You had Schumer comparing it to Pearl freaking Harbor, as if there hasn't been a day that could live in infamy since December 7th, 1941. That's how he's talked about it. His whole statement was absolutely deplorable. But it's no longer having any backing. Kelly Loeffler coming out and saying, well, because of the actions, even though Trump got 75 million votes that we know of, because of the actions of a couple of hundred people, I can no longer support his bid. Really? Is that it? Do you kill a bunch of kids because one toddler is a little asshole because his parents didn't tell him no once? Really?
Yes, if you're a Democrat.
If you're a Democrat, so why the hell? That's what I'm saying. They're acting like Democrats now. This is what it is now. It's insanity.
Why?
And without the right back.
Why don't we call it culture? Figure out how to deal with it, move forward.
Because when we
Cancel
jump,
culture, that's doing it.
It is, sure it is.
yeah, because when we jump on a new platform like
Yeah.
Parler, they take Parler off the Google Play Store and off the App Store, so nobody
But-
else can download it.
Yeah, Charlottesville. The response to Charlottesville, the response to his endless to Trump's endless tweets on this, that, and the other. The response to any kind of threats or whatever has not. The response to what's her name that got shot? That the anniversary was today.
Ashley, what?
That got shot in the head.
No, I was
oh,
talking about
Gabby Giffords.
Gabby
yeah,
Gifford.
Gabby
The
Giffords.
response to that, none of it holds a candle to what they're doing right now. They are using this thing right now to completely silence. I mean, the First Amendment is under threat like it's never been in this country. And it has been severely under threat for a long time. But now we're closing in on Canada, where we're going to need a Jordan Peterson to come in and tell us how ridiculous it all is.
Well, and Rod's talking about cancel culture. One of the things that we're about to see a lot of is more and more of the censorship stuff. We're going to see more pushes for hate speech laws, crap like that. And guys, for those of you, okay, most of the guys watching this
And girls.
probably have a good idea, but let me put this in none too uncertain terms for you. The United States is the only place in the world that you actually have free speech. And that statement is only barely true.
It's not true anymore.
You're right. It's under the law.
A couple dozen billionaires can just say, no, you're not allowed to have your YouTube channel anymore.
Yeah,
No,
that's great.
You're not allowed to have a Facebook page anymore.
Hold on. It's the only country in the world that has anything close to free speech. Is that better? Is that adequate for me to continue the rest of the point?
Fair enough.
Okay.
Sorry, buddy.
Outside of this country, it has already been the case for several years. Basically forever. The United States has, in theory, free speech guaranteed by the Constitution. The censorship crap that's going on now is leading toward what they already have in other countries. And to put it in perspective, so you really understand what that means, in Canada, the speech restrictions, the hate speech laws, are written so broadly that, I shit you not, if you are speaking in opposition to the party in power, you can be fined or incarcerated for a hate speech violation. That is to say that if the party in power is pro-abortion and you are of the opinion politically that we shouldn't murder babies by the hundreds of thousands every year, then that's hate speech. And you can be fined and incarcerated for that, for expressing the opinion we shouldn't murder babies. That is true outside of the United States. And what you need to understand about what the United States is and how very, very dangerous the loss, the rapid deterioration of our liberties is, this is not the last free place on earth. The United States was never the last free place on earth. The United States is, and always was, the first beachhead of liberty. Free men did not exist before the United States was founded.
You're 100% correct. But I mean, just to piggyback on what Kate was saying a minute ago, here's what makes this different. Here's what makes this dramatically different. For the first time ever, Now we finally have pictures. We have video. We have things that the mainstream media has drooled over for years and years and years. And they've always said that it happened, but they never had pictures of it. Now they have pictures of it. And it doesn't matter if the reality of the situation is that there were infiltrators and provocateurs that pushed this into an area that it would not have gone without them. That doesn't matter. What they have is, narratively, they have proof, and I mean air quotes, scare quotes. What they have is proof that our side is willing to engage in the violence, engage in the bullshit, to storm the castle, as it were. And now that they've got the proof, please believe that the First Amendment, Second Amendment, and Fourth Amendment, especially if you have the wrong think, buddy, we are pilgrims in an unfucking holy land. That's what we are.
Truth doesn't
Well,
matter. The truth has never mattered in general, but especially with the mainstream media completely going against literally everything. That everything that happened in 2020 was called a protest. Every BLM Antifa thing that happened in 2020 was called a protest. This is
Fiery, but mostly peaceful.
I'm at the Mexican restaurant, and it says, it says report from the Capitol under siege. But what's funny is, and they're calling it seriously, they call it a siege. And what's funny is I tried to Google images because I made a Facebook post that probably some of you guys saw the other day that showing pictures from Dallas, from Seattle, Atlanta, etc., Baltimore, Kenosha, etc. And it was all these, the fiery but mostly peaceful protests. It was all these terrible images. When I Googled Washington, D.C. aftermath, there was nothing. I saw a couple of podiums and chairs turned on their sides and some broken windows. That was literally it. But the truth doesn't matter. The truth is whatever they tell you it is, and they just gobble, and the people gobble it up. And this all could have been solved had any of the courts not denied the claims. Because had they not denied the claims, had any of the courts actually listened to it, read the 270-page thing,
Right, and
then
I'm glad you broached that.
But because they didn't, the media continually calls it baseless, without proof, everything like that. And it's like what Cameron said earlier. You're an idiot for believing it. You're a tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist moron who has probably been abducted by aliens several times and has a metal plate in his head. If you believe there was any evidence that this pristine election had anything wrong with it, Russia for 4 years, but this election, there's never been an election like this one, guys. This election was flawless because it went the way we wanted it to go. I mean, because we betted it. We betted it, and we went to Georgia. None
Because
of the
we edited it?
edited
it?
Sometimes I stutter when I get excited at it.
I know you would say better.
I did. No.
I feel like the angry bald head has
It's a joke,
something.
man. But it's a
I actually
scary
feel like he
freaking
froze
joke.
because his signal just dropped to 0.
Every time Rod freezes, it's in a terrifying. Rod is straight up. Like they'll use that. Speaking of what they use, Cameron, when they shut this channel down, they'll use a screenshot of Rod's face to show just how insane we are, because it goes with our crazy right-wing extremist narrative. Congratulations, Rod. You are the face of BFM now.
Yeah, you just
BLM.
freeze-framed.
BFM. No.
So,
Damn.
damn.
They already got a Viking, Chris.
You
so it's too late.
you just said something. You just brought some. Oh, the court
courts,
cases.
Yeah.
Okay, the court cases. So, we're hearing a lot of gaslighting about how it's just so ridiculous that the Republicans won't accept the election. Burr, 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 burr. Here's a thought. There was no suspicion, no evidence brought on the Russia complaint. The Democrats got to argue the Russia for 4 years. And they were given every moment that they could be given to present evidence. We're not even talking court cases. We're talking about congressional hearings. They had all the opportunity in the world to bring evidence. They brought one piece of evidence, and that piece of evidence was debunked and proved to have not only been a false piece of evidence, but a piece of evidence that was actually created and paid for by the opposition candidate who was questioning the election.
Was this the Don Jr. thing?
No, the Steele dossier.
Yeah, this was the Pissgate document.
Yeah, the Pissgate document.
Oh, okay.
That
So-
John McCain literally had one of his own personal aides fly over and pick up.
Yep. So
That John McCain.
Yeah. So with the Pissgate document, this is incontrovertible, right? This is not some crackpot theory, some tinfoil hat guess. We know this to be absolutely the case, and it is not argued against by the official government line anymore. They've basically given up the ghost on that one. No, we know there were a bunch of improprieties in the FISA courts. The FISA courts were only able to issue the warrants they issued because they were lied to, and those lies were based on this dossier, and the dossier was paid for and constructed by Hillary Clinton personally, basically. They had 4 years to run with all that fabricated evidence. And let's just assume for a moment that the dossier itself was legitimate to begin with. Let's take that dossier and compare it against thousands of eyewitness testimony affidavits, coupled with hours and hours of video footage of clearly shady, suspicious activity going on in polling places.
Oh, my favorite one is when they put up the poster boards on the windows so you can't watch them count anymore. Yeah, nothing funny there.
Yeah,
Coupled with basic logic and reason and common sense, and the fact that Bill Clinton was the most charismatic, most hyped, most pre-loved Democratic candidate since JFK.
Pre-loved.
Obama,
That's a nice way to
blew
say
him out of the water. Joe Biden, no one liked Joe Biden. Joe Biden doesn't like Joe Biden, but he's too ridiculously retarded at this point to remember. And yet, this dude gets almost 12 million more votes than Obama? No. Rod, quit making new faces.
Rod, are you just having fun, or are you trying to say something else?
Joe Biden doesn't like Joe Biden. He just can't remember it anymore.
Well, we know his vice president doesn't like him. Kamala hated him.
Oh yeah, that's getting screen capped.
But yeah, so they had 4 years to run with next to no evidence, and the evidence on the question of the legitimacy of this 2020 election has not been seen in a court.
Therefore, it's baseless. Now, here's a question.
Wait, I'm talking now. What's the next move?
Go, Rod. For the love of God, get it out of you.
One, we have to get rid of the Republicans in name only. Purge the party. Number two, put the black lady in office and let them call us racist for saying that the black lady should be in office instead of the guy that's got dementia. Make some winning moves now. You can't belabor a decision that's not going to get decided. You have to move forward.
You know, Rod makes a good point.
What's the next move?
Yeah, you know what? The next move? The hell with it. Joe Biden has dementia. Get him out. Install Kamala. For better or worse, that actually makes the most sense. So fine, I'm a racist. I want a female POC to be the
black
president.
Female, yes, bring her on.
No,
Oh man,
no, but he makes a look.
that looked like a constipated Neil Boortz.
No, but he makes a brilliant point. I'm on board with it. I'd rather Kamala than Joe, because Kamala at least has all her marbles. Turns out I'm actually all for a meritocracy.
I mean,
in a meritocracy, somebody
you
that
just-
doesn't have dementia wins.
Did
Period.
you say Kamala Harris has all her Is that a thing you just said?
Oh
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
Kamala's
in
got
fairness,
all her
she's got a
marbles.
mouthful of somebody's marbles.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going. Damn it, you stole my joke.
Be careful. You might watch what you put on YouTube.
No, but I mean,
But I
look,
mean, Kamala Harris is absolutely an icon. She is a role model. All of your daughters should look up to her. Kamala Harris is absolute living proof that if you're willing to sell your vagina, you can go anywhere you want to.
And she has a few, one between her chin and her
Can
nose.
I make my third point?
no, but in all
I got my
seriousness,
third point.
yeah,
third
go
point
ahead,
is-
Rod.
Go
The
ahead,
third
Neil.
point is you purge the party. Kelly Loeffler is married to the guy who owns the New York Stock. What are the chances are that she's a fascist, that's special interest type economics?
Well, since she
Does
got
any
her ass booted to
conservative
the
believe
curb.
she wanted to get booted to the curb? All she wanted to do was stage with Trump and stick him in the back a few times. And then when it came to stand up and do something for him, say, oh, I can't do that.
Hmm.
She did exactly. She performed her role flawlessly, and y'all don't know what's going on.
Apparently, she's a great performer.
And
I'm Kelly Loeffler, and I approve this message. Ha 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 ha.
we need to get Rod on a better internet connection. With God.
You know what though? If there's any takeaway from it, I think Rod really nailed it. I think
I do
that's
too.
actually. I think that's a brilliant strategy.
I was never a big fan of Loeffler. I wasn't. Now, I talked a lot about why you needed to go vote for her. And as much as I hate it, you needed to vote for Loeffler for the same reason that people voted for Biden. Because she wasn't the alternative. Now, I'm not saying that people who voted for Biden because they hate Trump were right, but that's the reason they voted for Biden. And with Loeffler, your alternative was it Warnock or Ossoff?
Jeremiah,
That was
right?
Warnock.
Jeremiah
Warnock,
Jr.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, your alternative was
Was a
the
guy.
commie that hates America and white people.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Black liberation theology. Yeah, totally. No.
You can't serve God and the military. I have heard so many hours of his sermons now. Now only about 17 words, but so many hours of his. I actually started hating Loeffler more because of how much airtime she paid for. I mean, really.
No, but seriously, we're coming up on our hour, and I want to give it to Rod, and I really feel like that's a good button to put on it. Is that not only is that tactically the right thing to do, it makes so much sense. Fine, let them call us a racist and a sexist and a bigot and a homophobe and all the other things they're going to call us, because legitimately, take all the emotion out of it, take all the ideology out of it. Do you want the guy with dementia, or do you want the black chick that doesn't have dementia? Well, I'm going to pick the non-dementia 10 out of 10. Like, that's what I'm going to do.
Well, originally I wasn't scared of her for the same reason that I wasn't scared of Bernie, because I thought that they were just too crazy to get any of their ridiculousness passed. But there is such a hard line now, and both sides are so extreme that it doesn't matter what is proposed with a majority in Congress. If it's proposed by blue, it's going through.
Well, let's all be real about what happened here. The party decided that Kamala was going to be the president. That's just the
Correct.
choice that they made.
Yeah, they knew she couldn't win, so what's plan
Well,
B?
they let her run, and then before the first vote was cast in the primary, they said, "Nope, cut it, just back out.
Oh, suck one more dick and we got you back.
We'll get you
I
there.
promise."
Joe will get you there." So we'll just get Joe in there. We'll steal it for Joe, and then we'll execute him, and then we'll get our black female president. And make no mistake, like, I mean, if there's somebody out there who still harbors the delusion that Kamala Harris was selected for any reason other than she's a black woman, you're stupid. This isn't something that we speculate on. It's something that Joe Biden said explicitly.
He did. I'm going to have a person of color and a female. You wait.
Oh, one more from Rod. One more from Rod before we go.
The reading assignment for next week is to study up on the word depression. Depression is usually a result of an oppression. In economics, it's 10% downturn for a protracted period of time when you have a pandemic. Read up on it.
Why don't you give us a reading list, Rod?
He just did.
Okay.
No, he gave us a topic. Give us a book.
Cat in the Hat.
Galbraith, 19.
The Little Red Hen.
Josephson, Robert Behrens. But
Mein Kampf.
what is holding
Trying to grow
the why is the stock market at 30,000?
Because 35% of all U.S. currency ever printed was printed in the last 9 months. They didn't tell you that one on CNN.
They have
did
taken
they,
control
kiddo?
of the market ticker. The market ticker they control that, right? It's reporting an accurate number like it used to. This is at 31,000. If it fell 30, they would say this is at 30 today. If it's 25, they would say, and everybody goes, oh, well, I guess we should put our bid in at 31,000 then. It's the plunge protection team stuff.
Oh my God, Krista.
Okay, and our final lesson for this evening, Krista, be careful what you say in the chat. I might just show people.
Oh, that's funny.
All right.
Don't worry. When we
That's
all go
funny.
to prison, we're all going to have plenty of practice.
We'll all burn together when we hang.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. That's the show for tonight. Y'all be safe out there, and we'll see you. Cameron and I will see you tomorrow morning. Good night.